let me try and lay out the territory for you, and you can conclude if it's wise or not. So obviously, the UK, having handled other aspects of the pandemic perhaps somewhat less well, got off to a flying start in terms of their approvals and their logistics for rollout and their purchasing of doses. And then faced with the variant and the rising number of cases, had a meeting of the organization, the JCVI, that sets the strategy for vaccination, and decided, I think 2 Fridays ago now, to have this strategy of varying the protocol and lengthening the interval. And their logic was kind of that in the heat of battle, you need to take emergency measures. And if they didn't have enough doses to get good coverage, precisely following the protocol, let's just vary it a bit. So I to some extent empathize with that view, but I also see the kind of furore that's broken out amongst my academic colleagues saying, it was licensed on the basis of a particular time interval. What on earth are they doing varying that?
What can we learn from, let's say, a country like Israel, who are even further ahead in terms of the number of doses they've administered?
Well, the first thing to say is just the obvious, that the countries who can get vaccine into the most people the fastest will do well, and will see the light at the end of the tunnel, and that's absolutely the way to go, and that's our escape route. I think we're also starting to look at the data from Israel, and the kind of real life data of whether giving people just one dose really pushes down your transmission, and the answer seems to be that, kind of contrary to that UK decision, one dose alone isn't sufficient to push down your transmission. It may, on the other hand, be sufficient to push down serious hospitalizations and fatal outcomes.
Of course, this is a problem with the vaccinations that require 2 doses. To what extent should countries be looking at rolling out the other doses where you just need the 1 jab? How much would that radically be able to change a country's ability to inoculate, all of its adult population?
Sure. Well, I think we've got many vaccines already available and many more coming around the curve, and they, it swings and roundabouts. They all have their own strengths and weaknesses. So, how do you weigh up a vaccine that seems slightly better in terms of the immunity it produces compared to one where your logistics get so much simpler because you only need to call the person in once? As far as I'm concerned, anything goes. That all the vaccines I look at are pretty good, and all of them would get us there.